Hi, this is Anna London with Cyvergence, and in this episode, we're going to be talking about the invisible influence, addressing the threat of AI-driven foreign interference in American democracy. In an era defined by rapid technological advancement, artificial intelligence, right, has all emerged as a tool with the dual potential to either significantly enhance or undermine societal well-being. One of the most alarming applications of AI technologies is their use by foreign governments and agents right now to manipulate public opinion and influence political outcomes in the United States and, of course, abroad. The exploitation of AI in this context not only threatens the integrity of American elections, but also poses a broader risk to national security and democratic values. So let's talk about the mechanics of manipulation. Foreign entities employ sophisticated AI techniques, including machine learning algorithms and automated bots, to generate and spread targeted disinformation across social media platforms. So you really never know who you're speaking to, right? And these AI systems can create realistic and compelling content, from fake news articles to deepfake videos, even folks that are, in the X spaces and a variety of things. They're designed to sow discord, polarize public opinion, and sway electoral preferences. And the sheer scale and subtlety of this content make it challenging for individuals to discern fact from fabrication, right? And real from, some AI, manipulated construct. AI-driven analytics are used to micro-target audiences with precision, exploiting vulnerabilities in human psychology and exacerbating existing societal divisions. And by manipulating what news we see, the opinions we hear, and even the emotional tone of the content, these AI systems can effectively shape public discourse in a manner that aligns with the strategic interest of foreign powers, right? And we've seen it for years, right? The consequences for democracy are huge, right? These implications of such manipulation are profound. Democracy thrives on informed debate and the free exchange of ideas, but AI-driven foreign interference undermines these pillars. And when foreign actors manipulate public opinion, they corrupt the democratic process by influencing the election and the selection of leaders, not on the basis of domestic consensus, but through external coercion. And this not only delegitimizes elected officials, but also erodes trust in democratic institutions, a fundamental goal of many adversarial foreign entities. So let's talk about potential solutions, right? Are there any, right? Combating this threat requires a multifaceted approach. And it's, Rome wasn't built in a day. It's also not going to be dismantled in a day either. But here are several strategies that could be pursued, okay? The first one is enhanced AI literacy. Educating the public about AI and its implications in media is crucial. I think people kind of have a basic understanding of it, but increased awareness and understanding could empower individuals to critically evaluate the content they encounter online. However, a lot of folks really are looking at memes or bylines. They're really not doing their own research from authoritative sources. And if you're left-leaning people only go to left-leaning type of sites and sources. And if you're right-leaning people only go to right-leaning sites and sources, right? So there's this then disconnect of, how they say when there's an argument, right? There's the his, hers, and then what really happened construct. Right, and everybody has their own perception of the truth. But in order to get down to what the fact is, you really have to look at both sides and everywhere in between and go to authoritative sources, even if you don't like the truth that's being put in front of you. Just because your left-leaning pals say one thing, right, and it's almost like the trending consensus to be forced to agree with that, or even on the right-leaning side, same thing. But you yourself need to think individually, right? Don't be a sheep. And go to multiple sources, right, to discern fact from fiction. Okay, that's the big thing. And I think that's the critical thinking element, problem-solving element, public healthy discourse element is just has eroded out through the human dichotomy. across multiple communication spectrums, both written and digital, okay, and in person, right? So there's a problem there that needs to be, solved and fixed there. Even our youth, right, are taught because, from the very, as an infant, right, they're provided a tablet. So everything is, text and digital really in front of them. And so, how then can we, it's education, right? It's education. That's a huge one. And that's a huge proponent of my company too, is education. I mean, that's the core of everything, but proper education from authoritative sources. Let's talk about the second potential solution though, robust AI regulation, right? Implementing, okay, it's not only about writing and identifying, but implementing strict regulations on the development and deployment of AI by social media platforms can help mitigate abuse, right? This includes transparency about content sourcing and the use of AI in content creation and distribution, right? And I know this kind of edges on, okay, well then what about the free speech, and expression kind of thing too. So I have another podcast that I've queued up that I will be posting on that AI and free speech and ethics and a variety of things. But I just kind of wanted to talk about this first as a predecessor to that episode. Let's talk about the third potential solution, and that's advanced detection technologies. Yes, advanced detection technologies, right? Investing in technology that can detect AI-generated disinformation and deep fakes is essential. Not just the community notes, because that's still subject to public opinion and perception, right? And even the voting on whether or not they agree, was it helpful, was it not helpful? Again, that's subjective as well, right? And that doesn't really help discern between fact and fiction either. Social media platforms really should be mandated to integrate these technologies to identify and flag suspicious content automatically, right? The fourth potential solution is international cooperation. Okay, since AI-driven threats do not respect national borders, sovereignties, or anything, right, for that matter, right? We're all part of the global information grid. We're all digitally connected, okay? International cooperation is vital. So treaties and agreements to prohibit the use of AI for election interference should be pursued, okay? And enforced, right? Let's talk about the fifth potential solution, and that is legal and political reforms. So we need to strengthen our laws against foreign interference in national elections and improve our security of election infrastructure, right, which is critical, okay? Political campaigns should be held to strict standards regarding the sourcing and the use of data for advertising and voter targeting, right? So let's talk about my final thoughts here. The challenge of foreign AI interference in American elections and abroad is daunting, okay, but not insurmountable. By taking proactive steps to educate the public, regulate AI usage, and enhance detection, the United States and our allies can shield its democratic processes from malicious foreign influence. And this is not just a matter of safeguarding elections, but of preserving the foundational principles of freedom and self-determination that define American democracy, right? The time to act is now. The stakes could not be more high, right? And with everybody on social media right now, I mean, everybody's trusting social media more than even, mainstream media, which is concerning. Mainstream media also just takes snippets from social media and they look at what's trending, right? They look at what the sensationalism component is, what's going to drive views. And so if a foreign actor can flood with bots to improve views and ratings to support a certain narrative or side, right, then the news media is going to go all over it because that's money making for them, not realizing that that's not really a true representation of the public, but that of a foreign actor, right, or an adversary, right, looking to manipulate the minds, right, and potentially the vote, right, of our electors, right, and affect policy, right? So when, for instance, President Biden is an example, right? When they all report, what the public says this, the public says that, the public outcry and this and that, and you should support this or not support this or what have you. And when they look at They always report on polls. Well, this poll says, you know, this poll says, and so they leverage that in order to also make decisions, which is concerning because many of those polls are really AI generated and manipulated, right? And honestly, who really is responding to those polls? Because it says out of 100 people, out of 1,000 people, right? I mean, I know I don't do the polls. I don't even sign up for the polls. Half the time I don't even see them. So it just kind of makes you wonder then who are the ones that are actually responding to those polls? Are those legitimate even humans, right? Or are those AI generated bots, right? Formulated and generated by, foreign actors or even insider threat to manipulate public opinion and force policy change, right? That's really against the, the public, right? The public's best interest, right? Should be we the people, but not we the AI bots either. All right. So with that said, something to think about. Right. And then again, this is a precursor to the next, my next opinion piece, if you will, governing the crossroads of free speech, ethical AI, and social media. Right. So look forward to that. Anyways, listen to this one first. And again, just open up your mind and don't be so quick to agree to, the first thing you listen to, or, go out and search information. And, ChatGPT isn't all fact either, because again, it's what's put in, right? It's language processing. So it's only going to provide a response that it's been trained to provide, right? So if you have a predominantly left-leaning type of opinion-based, right, information that's being poured into the language database, that's all it's going to do. When you present a question, right, and a prompt, it's going to respond back then with whatever it has learned. If it's right-leaning, then you're going to get right-leaning stuff. If it's left-leaning, you get left-leaning stuff. So be careful on that too, on leveraging ChatGPT almost like a replacement, for factual information. Take that as a starting point, the response that you get from your NLPs, right? Your language models and processing, if you will, no matter what version they are, right? ChatGPT or other. Take that as a learning point or a starting point, but then go and peruse through actually authoritative sources across multiple spectrums to come to a more researched and informed conclusion of your own on what is fact or fiction. All right, I'll leave it there. This is Anna London with Cyvergence.ai signing out.